Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Welcome. I'm going to show you some things to do with your new silhouette today. If you're brand new to silhouette or if you've had your Cameo for a while now, I'm going to show you some things that are going to be very helpful to you and you're going to enjoy doing these, I hope. One of the reasons I'm showing this is because we do a thing called Cards for Kids, and I'll tell you more about that at the end. But what I'm asking you to do is to make an extra card when you're making them, put it aside, and when you get 10, send it to Cards for Kids, and I'll show you that again towards the end. So let's look at what I've got here. I've already printed this out, and I'm going to step back in time and show you just how I did this. I've printed out some sentiments, printed out some little flowers, and these girls that are Digi stamps. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this in just a moment. What we're going to be doing is, if we look up here at my screen, we have been learning how to increase our, our repertoire of what we can do with cards. So we are right now on Paper Play Sketch 004, and you can get these here at this address right here on my screen, or you can just follow along with me and I'll have them available for you. Here's a sample of one I did with this, just using some orangey colors. And then what I was going to do was take one of these little gals here. I'm going to color her, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And I might even put some little designs on here. I haven't decided yet, kind of dot them up just for some extra pizzazz. But, I shouldn't move those because that's ready to be cut. So let me put those all back where they should be. Okay, so we're ready to cut this now. I'm going to send it to my Cameo. Now to do that, if you look back down here again, you'll see that after I printed this, it has 1, 2, 3, and you can't quite see that one, 3 little marks on it, and these are called registration marks. These are the marks that my Cameo's light, there's a little light in it, will read. It'll go here first, and then it'll come down here and read where this one is, and then it'll flip back up here and check out where this one is, and that's going to tell it exactly where all of these images are, so it will cut around them perfectly. That's why I just said to you, after I printed it, I can't move what's on my mat up here, on this mat up here, because if I was to move any of these right now, what my Cameo already thinks it knows exactly where these things are based on the way they were printed and these registration marks. So if I move one now, it's not going to cut properly. So anyway, I'm ready to cut this one. I'm going to move everything else off the mat. I'm just going to come up here to the very top where it says send. And let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so if you'll notice, all of these red lines are showing what's going to be cut. This is not what I want cut. I do not want the text cut out of here. I don't want the text cut out of there. So what I need to do is just kind of grab all of this, and rather than it saying cut over here, and that means cut everything, I just want it to cut the edge, and watch what happens. And now, as you'll notice, it's just going to cut the edges of all of these things. I'm a little bit worried because I see this one's a little too close, but we'll have to make do with it because I can't move it now, as I told you. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to my machine. I have it set at cardstock plain, but I actually know I like mine on cardstock heavy. And this is just through testing that I've done. And I like to move the blade depth up a bit. This is the blade depth. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my mat. And if you're new to having a Cameo, you'll know that your mat comes with this protective cover right here. I'll take that off and save it. Don't throw it away. And I'm going to put my image that I already printed on my mat in exactly the same orientation as it is on my virtual mat. So in other words, here's the arrow at the top. This is the top of my mat. At the top left, I want that square. Okay. I can't put it like this. I can't put it upside down like this. I must put it the exact same way that it is on my virtual mat with this little black square up in the upper, left-hand corner. Let me get this on here for you. There we go. And let's look back up here at my virtual mat. Okay, you see where I'm saying this little square is up in the upper left-hand corner? That's exactly how I have to put things on my regular mat. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in my Cameo. I'll click on the little arrow so that it will go in. Fortunately, I don't have another camera set up over there today for you to see. So I'll just go ahead and I'll say, come down here. Now, you know, if you're new to Cameo or if you've not used this product before, or oftentimes I almost always do a test cut, but I have these gals right up to the edge. So I'm not going to do a test cut, but generally I always recommend that you do one. And to do a test cut, all you have to do is come down here to the lower right hand side where it says test. And what your machine will do is it's going to put a little test up here in the upper left hand corner where there's a, and it'll make a little square with a triangle in it. And then it will pause and you can take the thing out, your sheet, and see, did it cut properly? Can you weed it easily? And if not, then you would adjust your settings. But I know this is going to work perfectly because I've used this cardstock before, and I've used this Cameo for many times before. So I'm just going to hit send down here, and you'll hear it. It's going to start reading the registration marks. And once it reads the registration marks, then it's going to begin cutting. So I'll let it cut, and then I'll come back here. Okay, my machine has cut all of this out, so I can go ahead and just pull this up like this. Oops, moving my mouse. I like to be a little bit careful. The mat that I'm using is very sticky and very new, so I have to be careful that I don't accidentally drag up some stuff I don't want to. And that helps to me to not get these as bent up as they could be if I was to go ahead and pull these off of the mat this way. They get more bent more easily. So I like to turn my mat over and try it to see if that helps. Sometimes it does, and sometimes I don't think it does much at all. These just cut perfectly. I have enough to make several cards now that I can send to the Cards for Kids. And while I'm peeling the rest of this off, so what it is I'll give you the address down below. It's a place that sends cards to kids who are either ill or have been in an abusive situation or something like that. So when we make cards, we're not supposed to say, I hope you're feeling better, I hope, you know, blah blah blah. They're just supposed to be upbeat and encouraging. And so you never say, you know, I hope you're getting better or feeling better. What we do is we are putting these in under the name of my little group here, Patty Ann's Place, because we're trying to catch up to a lot of these other places that are putting in a lot of cards just for fun. You don't win anything or anything. It's just we've been having fun just trying to add to our cards. So far we've done about 100 cards, and we just started. So I'll have a link in the, well actually, if you go to my website, pattyannsplace.blog, and go to the library, you have to sign up to get the password there. But if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get the password to go into the library, and there's lots of free files there, including the one for this, for my little logo that we put on the back of our cards so they know where they came from. Okay, so this is what these look like, and I think they're super cute. Let me scroll in so you can really get a good look of her. Isn't she cute? And look at these. You're the best. Girls rule. I did a lot of girls rule. Hi, friend. You're the best. I like to make a lot of sentiments, and I save them to use later on if I need to. So I've made a lot of these, and then here's all the little flowers that I made. And this was all print then cut. And I'm going to show you how I go ahead and do that now. So let's go back up to Silhouette, and I'm going to start from the very beginning, tell you how to go from the beginning to this point, and then if you want to stay with me, I'll color one of these and actually put the card together. So let's get there. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where I got this image. I just went into Google and I typed in, let me go back, I typed in just free Digi stamps, and when I did that I found this one. I clicked on it to open it and it came in pretty large, nicely sized. Then I just right click on it and say copy image. Then I open up Silhouette and I right click and I say paste. And that puts the image right there on my Silhouette mat. So I don't need two of them, so I'm going to delete this first one. The next thing that you have to do, and just follow these directions for now, eventually I'll explain why we do things that we do, but for now, let's just practice going through the steps. So what I'd like you to do first is just click on this to highlight it, and come over here to this little guy here that looks like a butterfly. Some people say it looks like a piece of toast, which is what I think it looks like. I click on the toast. After I click on the toast, which is the trace panel, I come up here to where it says select trace area. Then I come over here and I select the thing I want to trace. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to come over here and just hold down my mouse key and drag a box around the stuff I want to select. So that's all the things that I want to trace, and it's working right now, as you can see by the little blue thing that's spinning. And it traced it pretty well, but if I scroll in a little bit using what I like to call the mouse, sometimes you can see some spots where it didn't trace all that well. But you know what? This looks really, really good. And what I mean by not tracing very well, you'll see little like gaps in the lines, but this one looks terrific. So I'm just going to scroll back out a little bit and just say trace. Come over here and hit the word trace. And once that is traced, and you can see it's still working, what I can do is just grab a hold of this white box here and drag it off to the side, because I no longer need that. I can just delete it on my keyboard. So the next thing that I like to do is just come up here and change the color of all of this to a light color that I probably won't be using, just so we can see it. Hopefully you can see that, yeah. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say edit object up here at the very top, object, release compound path. And what that's going to do is it's going to draw boxes around this whole image. So I'm going to say release compound path. Okay, there we go, the little boxes around everything, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here, and some of these little circles that I don't think I need, I'm going to draw a box around it by holding down my mouse key, and when I've selected, I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard, because I think there's just way too many of these little dots and I don't want all of them. So I'm just going around willy-nilly and selecting some and deleting them. So basically I'm pretty much getting rid of the smallest ones, smaller ones. Not all of them though. Sometimes you might have to, if you click on it and hit delete, you might have to do it twice, click on it and delete. So here's a bunch of little ones in here I can get rid of. Delete. Another little one, delete, delete. I think I'll get rid of this one too. So I'm just going around here and getting rid of some of them. So you can just choose whatever ones you want to get rid of. Like that. That looks pretty good. I'll get rid of that one. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So I can either come up here and hit undo with this arrow, or I can hit Control Z on my keyboard, which is the same thing as undo. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to scroll back out by using the magnifying glass up here at the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this again. See, I hold down my mouse and grab it all. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm going to come back up here to the top where it says Object, Make Compound Path. Remember, originally we released the compound path, and now we're going to make a compound path. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is come up here, and instead of having this color of green be in here, I'm going to come up here to the very top left-hand corner, change it to black, which is really good, except for that the line color is red, and I'm going to change that also up here. So this is the fill color, this is the line color. I'm going to change the line color to black as well. And then one more thing I want to do is I want to change the line, the size of the line. And you'll learn more about this as time goes by with Silhouette. But right now, just know that you'd like to probably change the line size to a 1, which works out perfectly. All right, so now she should be great, just like this. I can resize her though, because right now she's 7 inches tall, and that would be too tall for any kind of a card that I'm going to make right now. So I'm just going to grab this box here on the lower right hand corner, and I can shove that in like that, and it changes it proportionately. So I can make more of her if I'd like to, kind of like I did on my sample. I can right click and say duplicate, move it over, or I can hold down my Alt key, and when I hold down the Alt key on my keyboard, look what happens to my arrow or my cursor. Right now it's an arrow. If I hold down my Alt key, it turns into a plus. Do you see how that's changing? When I click on my Alt key, when it's a plus, that means I can drag another one off. And there's another way to duplicate, but I don't think I need to confuse the matter. The other thing that I might want to do is I might want to have her facing the other way. So I can right click on her and say flip horizontally. So now some of my little girls can be facing to the left and some can be facing to the right. And that's pretty much all we need to do, except for, like I said, you might want to resize it because this one is still over 5.5 inches tall. So I think I'll resize her. I'll resize this one by highlighting her as well. And if I know exactly what size I want her to be in the terms of height, I can come up here and lock this lock and change her height to maybe 4 inches. And since I lock, the width will change proportionately, like that. Okay, let me show you what happens if you don't lock the lock. Let's say I'm going to change this girl, and I'm going to change her height to, unlock it, I'm going to change her height to 4. And if I don't lock the lock, it's not going to change proportionally. Watch. Change it to a 4, hit enter, and she gets kind of weird shaped, right? So that's not what we want. We want her to change, when she changes height, we want her to change her width just as well. So I'm going to click on her, I'm going to lock the lock and say 4. Maybe, yeah, 4, I'll say 4, okay. So there are my 3 little girls, and then to make a sentiment, all I do is this. I can come over here to the left-hand side and get a box, draw a box out. I'd probably make mine white by coming up here to the upper left-hand corner, changing that to the color white. And the other thing I can do is I'll just type in hi friend. So I'll come over here to the text panel, or the text button. Then I'm going to come here and click on this and type in hi friend. Okay. And then I'm going to select this and come over here to the text style panel, which is way over here on the right hand side, the letter A. And I'm going to change my font, and one that I've been using is this one called Gel Dotica, lowercase. Hopefully you can see that, because I really, and it should show, it shows it up here also. Look here, Gel Dotica lowercase. I just think that's a cute font for kids, Especially little girls probably like that one. So hi friend. I can change its color by clicking on it again and coming up here to the upper left hand corner, change it to black. And then the other thing I usually like to do is put an offset around my sentiment. So I'll click on the box again. To put an offset around something, it's so easy. Just come way over here to all of these panels. The one that you want is the one that looks like a star with an offset around it. Click on that. That opens the offset panel. Click on the word offset. Did you see that automatically put an offset around it? Now that's a pretty large offset. I usually like mine a little smaller on my text. So rather than it being the default of 0.125, I'm going to make it 0.05 and hit enter. And now I have a much smaller offset on here. And I can come right up here and change it to any color I'd like. Maybe I want an orange offset. That would be kind of nice. Maybe I want a black one. Maybe I want yellow. I can make that offset color any color I want. And then what I would do is grab all these and group them. And then I could make more. And by the way, we also want to put an offset around our little girl too. So I'm just going to delete these two because it'll be easier if I replicate her or duplicate her after I offset her. So to offset her now, I'm just going to click on the word offset just as I had done before. I come over here to the little star, opens the offset panel, click on offset once she is selected, and I can leave that offset at the default if I'd like. Now the funny thing is it put little pieces of offsets into her face and all over the place, and I don't want it like that. I want the offset to be one solid piece. I'm going to drag the offset off of her, and I'm going to go ahead and come up here to Object, Release the Compound Path. And just like before, if you'll remember, when you release the compound path, it put a little square around everything. It's going to do that again. Watch. See the little squares around these now? So all I have to do now is with this all selected, just right click and say weld, and they're gone. And then the next thing I would do is I would go ahead and change its color. I want the this offset to be white, so I'm going to change it to white. And I don't want this line to be so thick. Recall that we made the line thick because we wanted her thick. I don't want it like that on my offset. If you don't remember to do this, it's not a matter of life and death, but I like to go ahead and go back to my line set and make it back to 0. So that even though you can barely see that line, it's really not going to show up. And I can bring her right over here. And I can center her here. I think if I'm right now showing you this in Designer Plus, and notice there's only 2 ways for me to center this right now. I want you to see something. When I come over here to Help, View in Business Edition, I'm going to get another option, this one right here, which allows me to quickly center those 2 things together. And now I can just go like this, right click and say group. Okay, that might have been a little bit of confusing, so let me ungroup this again and show you. So if I bring this over like this, and I have the business edition, I can just, don't even have to bring that over. I could just highlight both of these and come up here to the one that looks like a bullseye. Notice it just says center, and I can center them just like that. If I don't have this edition, I can still center them. It's just another step. I can grab both of these and come way over here to the panel that says Transform Panel. Click on that, and now you'll see the same little button shows up over here, Center. So either way it works. It's just a little easier in Business Edition. So now what I'm doing is just grabbing both and grouping. Okay. And again, now what I can do if I want to is click on her and duplicate her. by right-clicking and saying duplicate. That's one way. And of course, if I want to, I can make her face the opposite way by right-clicking and saying flip horizontally. Then we have the little girl facing both ways. There she is. Okay, now if you're working in Silhouette to make this a print then cut, let's pretend like this is all we are going to do. We need to first come up here to the page setup panel, and my cardstock I'm going to use is 8.5 by 11. So my machine is a Cameo, my cutting mat is the Cameo, but my media size, the paper size I'm going to use is 8.5 by 11 or letter. So I'm going to click on that. Notice now all we see is the size of the paper that's 8.5 by 11. The other thing that's very important that we need to do, or that I like to do, is click on these two check marks right here. And they put these little lines, a red one and a gray one, around the outer edge. But I want you to take note of those lines of where they are once I put on the registration marks. This is the last thing I need to do in order to print then cut for Cameo. I come up here to the third button over, and it says registration marks. Click on that. Notice right now the registration marks are off. I'm going to turn them on and watch what happens on my mat. Did you see it pop on? Did you notice this red line move? Let's look again. I'll turn it off and I'll turn it on. The red line moved in. So what that red line means is I can't put anything outside of that red line, or when it goes to print then cut, it'll be chopped right off. Additionally, I can't put anything in this checkerboard area because that will also be cut off. But I can put stuff right up to it like this, and I can sneak this up in here if it will fit, or manipulate these things however they will fit. I could spin her around. She fits like that better. If I want to really take advantage of the space that I have, maybe this girl could go sideways. So I could just put a whole bunch of these on together like this, and then what I would do is come up here to File, Print. I would do my preferences on my particular printer that I use, and it's a wide format printer. I can print 11.5 inches wide by 23 inches long or whatever. But I do like to put mine on high. Oh, and everybody always wants to know what printer I use. I have it linked down below if you want to see which one I use. But I put my paper on high quality, and I always have the print preview marked, so I can say OK and print. Then it's going to show me a preview of what it's going to print. This is taking a little longer than usual for some reason today. Okay, here it comes. So this is going to show you a preview of what's going to print. And just as I had done before, I would send it to my printer, and then it would print as you had seen in the very beginning of the video. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move on to what do I do next with these cards after I'm done. Let's look down at my thing down here. Well, that just finished. Let me show you what it looks like. Here's what the print preview looks like, and then I would just click on print and it would be done. But I'm not going to do it. Closing. Do you want to print? No. Alright, so we're going to look down here now, and what I like to use are several different things. Let's scroll out a little bit. Several different things when I'm coloring. I don't have the Copic markers, so I like to use these Prisma colored pencils. I have the 72 set. You don't need this big of a set. You can also just use the Crayola markers if you'd like to. Those work well also. Oh, here are some things that I've already colored from another video where I was showing you how to take rubber stamps and make them into images like this. Okay. So, and I also like to use these. It's my These are the Prismacolor watercolor pencils. I use these as well. And then when you use those, you can use this Prismacolor blending tool. Last night I used Vaseline when I was doing these. Somebody suggested you could use Vaseline, and it seemed to work okay. At the very end though, I felt like it was still kind of sticky, so I had to take a paper towel and wipe the whole thing off. But you know, that's a pretty inexpensive way to go if that's what you're able to afford right now. So what I would do is I would just start coloring these. Let me scroll back in. Oh, you know what? Let me make one that's going to match her on these papers. So I was going to use this orange. Here's the cardstock that I grabbed to use. This is for the base of my card. Here's for the base. All I would do for the base, and I cut that out, it's an 8.5 sheet of paper that I cut in half, and then I simply fold it like this. I could have put a score line on it and done it with my machine, but I didn't really think it was necessary. And a lot of people use bone folders. This is fun to use, but it's not really that necessary either. Okay, so there's the card base, okay? So she's going to eventually go on here like this, and I think I'll do a girl's rule on her. But before I do that, I need to put these pieces on here. So let's see. I just wanted to color this, just start coloring it a little bit so it matches to show you. So I could take this yellow, canary yellow, and begin, let me scroll in again so you can see. I can begin coloring her hair, and I can shade it by putting some dark stuff and then going to a light color. And I can use these watercolor ones with the ones that are just plain color pencils, and they'll both blend nicely together. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of her hair, or all of her hair, I guess. Okay. Isn't she adorable? And then I could take some other ones of these pencils just to show you. Let's see if I can find a color in here right quick. Have them. This is, what's this? Orange or something. They have such fancy names for these colored pencils. I just don't even know what they are. But anyway, this is going to match nicely. And so I can blend these colors together. And now if I was just using the watercolor ones, I could blend it with water, and I do have a water, you can just use a plain brush, or there's a certain kind of a little brush, a little tube that holds water, and you can use it. Or, like I said, you can use this Prisma blending, and you don't need to use any water at all. It's got two different sides to it. This side is very narrow and small, and this side's very wide. You can tell by the little stripe. One thing I like to do is have a paper towel right nearby so I can make sure that the tip is clean before I start using it. And so I'll just go ahead and start blending this. And what this does is it makes it really, really smooth so that you can't even tell that you used pencils. It does look exactly like you used markers because it just blends it so nicely. I'll show you up close in a moment. So I think this will be a cute one to use for my cards for kids. I probably should have put some more down here. Oh, and here's a long tendril. Is that what they're called? And then there's another thing that you can buy. I don't have it, but it's called Gamsol, and you can use that, and that really helps to blend the stuff nicely too. I think I'm going to purchase some of that to try it because it looks like it works really nicely. So okay, hopefully you can see how nicely that's turning out. and looks just like markers. And I would continue doing that. And I just thought of something else that I could do if I wanted to. I could take, what would I take? I know this tool maybe. I don't know if this tool's too pointy though, but what I could do, I think it is a little pointy. I could take this tool and put this in here like this. It's a little pointy. I'm a little scared I'm going to poke a hole. And just kind of do like that. And then I could put these up in her hair. Wouldn't that be cute to make her three-dimensional like that? Oh my gosh. And inside of here I could put some stickles. If you know what stickles are, they are, where are my stickles? They're little bottles of, oh, here they are right in front of me. They're little bottles that look like this. They're called stickles. And I use these a lot because I just love bling. And wouldn't that be cute to put different colors of stickles inside of here in her hairdo? I just think that'd be super cute. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so glad I made these little flowers. They're adorable. They add a lot, I think. So, and there's another one. Anyway, I could put some more of those in her hair like that. So I would just finish that up. And then the other thing that I would do is I have my card here, and I would cut these other bases to the sizes that I need. Like this one seems like it might be just a tiny bit big. Remember, they're going to be slanted like this. And the yellow one is also going to be slanted like that. You can, let's see, maybe I can scroll out so you can see better. So they'd be slanted like this and that. And then she is going to go on top of here. And the sentiment is going to go on top of here. So let me cut that apart just a little bit for you to show you. I think these need to be cut down. Let me get my cutter out right quick. And let's see, what length are they right now? This is, okay, so right now this one measures about 5 1/4. I'm going to make this 4 3/4 and hope for the best, because I didn't pay attention to what size I wanted it to be. Let's see what happens. That, sure, that's going to work, I think. And I'll make this 4 3/4. That got cut funny. Okay, put this aside. And actually, so I'm not sure. On this one, I put the orange on top on my sample one. So let's see, if I was to do this and this and glue those on there, I have to cut off these edges that hang off the edge. But that's not a problem. I could glue them on here first. And you know what else I might like to do, you guys? I might like to go ahead and mount this on a piece of the gold, because that would make it stand out prettier. Then put her on here. And the other thing that they do have in the sample, if you look back up here for just a second, look up here at the very top left. See the paper place sketches over here? Whoa. Okay, this right here. They also show like a ribbon down here. So I guess I could put underneath her little feet a cute little ribbon hanging, which would be adorable, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh, you guys. This is going to be so cute when I finish coloring this. I love it. So I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you understand, what I was trying to show. If you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like me to do another one, let me know. I just love making these, and I'm going to continue making them because we all are planning to make them to send them to the Cards for Kids. Okay, I finished my card and I think it turned out really, really cute. I'm really happy with it. And I followed that, so now I'm done with number 4 of our sketch challenge. I hope you'll follow along and do that, and also make an extra card for our Cards for Kids. And if you're in our Facebook group, I will put information there as well. Do know that on the back, I really appreciate it if you do put this little, oopsie, I don't want to get my stickles. If you put this little sticker on the back or print something out with this on it or something, and that's just so that we can get credit for sending them in, because I think it's kind of cool that as a club, as a group, as a family, we all send these things in. So again, thanks for joining me. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and tell this to your friends. And if there's something that you would like to learn about, let me know. I love teaching people how to use their machines to the best. Again, I use Silhouette software, whether it be for my CRICUT machine or my Cameo machine, because it works for both. So again, thanks you guys. See you soon.